Fred here, welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at the Innokin Cortex temperature control vaping system. The Innokin Cortex temperature control box mod is the most advanced 80-watt temperature control box mod out there, and it's powered by the IKARNO IKARNO S1 chip, along with an internal non-removable 3300 milliamp hour battery. When this device is in temperature control mode, it can use both nickel as well as titanium coils. Now this comes in several colors. It comes in red, silver, blue, and black. If at any time you're interested in the Cortex temperature control vaping system, I provided a link in the description box below. Just click it and it will take you to myvaporstore.com. This whole system, both the mod and the tank, cost $70. Here's the box that the system comes in. Lots of good information on the back, all your specs. Just go ahead and slide this out. Open it up, and you'll be greeted with both the iSub S tank, which already has a coil in it already, and we'll go over this. We get the Cortex box mod, temperature control. Underneath the foam, we have a very good manual with some really good information and a lot of warnings. They want you to vape safely, so they did provide a lot of good information, including a lot of warnings about not using titanium when you're in nickel mode and not using nickel coils when you are in titanium mode. Very important, especially with nickel, because you don't want nickel to get too hot because it could be hazardous. We also get a cable, and these are known to be very long, which I like. Lots of extra O-rings, a black Delrin drip tip, and 2 more coils. Now, inside the iSub tank here, it pre-installed is a nickel coil head, and we also have 2 other coil heads. One is the bottom vertical coil Clapton, which is a 0.5 ohm, and the other one is just a regular coil to vape in normal mode. So, and whoops, we get another user manual. So this one that I just showed you is more of a quick guide, and this is the more in-depth manual. I must say that this is probably one of the best documentation, or some of the best documentation I have seen to come with a vaping device. Let's take a look at the mod itself. On the top you have a 510 socket with a lot of air channels all the way around, almost recessed. I mean, it's a little above here, but not quite above the rim here. That sort of is slightly above the top. You have a self-adjusting 510 pin. The sides has this really nice texture. It's not smooth. It's just slightly, very slightly abrasive, like an extremely fine 5,000 grit sandpaper. Might be, for lack of a better term, a description of it. But I like it because it makes it just a little more non-slip, and it also doesn't show fingerprints. Here's the button. It's flush. It does illuminate around the button, and guess what? No rattle. As a matter of fact, no rattle on this whole device. Very few devices have no button rattle, and this is one of them. On the bottom, you have the screen. For instance, I'm just going to press the fire button. You can see that the device is off. I'll go ahead and hit this fire button 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and you'll see it turn on. Innokin logo, and then all your information. Battery. This is in nickel temperature mode. Let me wake that back up. And it says check atomizer. Nice clear description of what's going on. You have your watch, your temperature, and the amount of time that you're vaping in seconds. You can see here that the screen is sort of non-reflective. That's because I still left the plastic on. I suggest you leave the plastic on. It's extremely legible and it makes it non-reflective. I'm going to leave that protector on the bottom. You have your plus or minus controls. As with all Innokin devices, they don't work unless you press and hold one of them for a couple of seconds, and then you could adjust. You can see there, really nice feature. So it's sort of like a built-in lock feature, so you don't inadvertently change your temperature. And like I said, this has an internal battery, so you have to charge the device itself. And there is your micro USB charging socket. So I think that really covers everything around the device. Let's talk about operation of this device. Okay, so obviously fire wants you to check for an atomizer. We'll add the tank here and talk about it shortly. And again, you can sort of round robin up and down. It goes in 5 degrees right there in temperature mode. If you hold it, it'll just scream up there, go all the way up to 600 degrees Fahrenheit and stop. It sort of hold it for a second and then continue to round. So it just sort of naturally pauses for a second and then it will continue. So that's kind of nice. So you get a round robin, but you don't just race across it without a heads up. So you go from 300 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can also change this to Celsius mode, which is, where did I put it? 150 to 315 degrees Celsius. Now if you want to change between the scales, you just press the fire button and the minus button at the same time, and it'll change it from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Now, to change the modes in this device, you press the plus and minus button at the same time, just like that, and you just hold it for a couple of seconds, and then you could change between your nickel, whoops, let me hold it there, there we go, and you could change between your titanium, watts, and nickel. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in watts because that's what I'm going to demonstrate today. So we'll just hit the fire button, and now we're in watts. So you see now it has ohms. Let me let that come up here. So now in this mode you can see ohms, battery, volts, watts, and the amount of time that you have hit your fire button. Operating wattage of this device is from 6 watts to 80 watts, and it goes in 0.5 increments. So again, you got to press and hold it for a second, and then you can make adjustments. So you can see it goes intense, and then it will, if you hold it, sort of race all the way up to 80 watts. And I'm going to be using this at about 50 watts today. So I'm just going to, whoops, go back down to 50 watts. So you can go from 6 watts to 80 watts. Also, this device will go as low as 0.1 ohms. So it can get down there to major sub-ohm territory. Maximum working current for this is 30 amps, and maximum output voltage is 7.5 volts. If you want to get the ohm reading of your coil at any time, you just press and hold these buttons really quick, the plus and minus, and it will show you that. Just don't hold it for too long, because then it'll go into that mode select feature. Last thing on the specs, weight is 6 ounces, dimensions is 3 3/4 inches high, 1 3/4 inches wide, or lengthwise, and then the shortest measurement here is 7/8 of an inch. So I think we covered all the major specs. The only other thing is, if you want to change the modes, there's another way to do that besides pressing and holding these 2 buttons. You could also press the fire button along with the plus button, and that'll switch the modes also. So you have several ways of doing the same thing. Really nice. The last thing before we move on to the tank is, I said that this is one of the most advanced devices, and you could see just by what I've showed you so far, it is pretty impressive. It's also just very highly efficient, direct current, steady power output. It's balanced, even coil heat up ultra low external heat generation. It has a dry hit detection and prevention, so if your coil gets dry, it knows and it'll stop. It also has ultra low standby power consumption, and it charges fast. It does the 2 amp fast charging is supported with this device. So this iSub S tank is pretty impressive. It's a 22 millimeter tank, and it features that quick fill feature. So you just come over here and turn the top, and you'll see 2 holes sort of open up right there. So you don't even have to do anything. This tank could be on top of your mod. You just twist the very top of it and you could just fill. It has 2 holes because as you pour it in one side, you want air to compensate by coming out the other side. And once you get done filling, you just turn it and you're ready to vape. You have airflow adjustments that are pretty impressive. You could see how it looks. Okay, it looks normal. It sort of opens and closes here. I need to tighten this a little bit. But it clicks. So you have like a spring-loaded bowl kind of thing going on there. And you can see how that slot opens fully and closes. And it does the same thing on the other side, but prepare to be amazed. As you're closing down on this side and the big slot closes on both sides, then you get down to these smaller holes, and it can go down to a very, very tight drawer. I've never seen that on any device. That's pretty impressive. By the way, this is all 100% stainless steel. And again, you could change this tip to the Delrin Black tip. They do have replaceable glass tanks where you just take this all apart and you can replace that as a that's really it. We'll keep it fairly basic. So we'll go ahead and remove the bottom, and this is where you get and change your coil. I like that you could change your coil without emptying your tank. And I'm going to go ahead and pull out the nickel coil that came pre-installed, and I'm going to use the bottom vertical coil that they recommend 30 to 70 watts. So I already set the device to 50 watts, and this is the bottom vertical coil, BVC. That is the Clapton coil. Not really too much to see. And what we need to do, as with any device, any new coil, is you want to sort of pre-soak everything. So we'll go ahead and just do that before we put that in there. Actually, you know what? I'm going to set this aside for 1 second. If you want to take apart this tank, you just start unscrewing everything else, and you can disassemble the whole tank for cleaning. Now we'll go ahead and sort of pre-moisten. This is kind of hard to do on camera because I got so much in front of my face here. So we'll go ahead and you see these huge juice holes. So we'll go ahead and sort of pre-moisten that, and then we'll go here and pre-moisten just a little bit right there. By the way, today we are vaping Plantana, which is a banana milkshake flavor from Johnson Creek. I love their products. I love their packaging. You can see how it has, I don't want to tip this over because it's still open, and now I'm getting juice all over the place, but you can see that they have the nicotine percentage clearly marked. You have your lot numbers, 30 milliliter bottle, child-proof cap, dropper built in, all the things that you like. You got all your warnings, ingredients clearly marked. Very good packaging and very good juice. So once you pre-moisten your coil, you want to go ahead and pop that back in. Pretty easy to do. You just sort of, you got to line up these grooves that are here with the grooves here, and just sort of pop that in. Make sure you get it all the way down. So if it's not lined up right, you got to give it a twist until it's set all the way down. If you experience any kind of leaking problems, it's because you didn't sort of shimmy that into that channel, and then you just screw the air part back just like that. Get nice and tight, and now we're ready to fill up the tank. I'll tell you what, we'll do this here so you can see, because I have my camera so low. So the way you fill it is you just sort of twist that top so we can get the holes open, and you just get your dropper down one of the holes and start filling it up. By the way, this tank holds 4.5 milliliters. Now that we're done filling, you just simply twist clockwise to close the holes, and we're ready to vape. So you just screw it into the 510 adapter or hole or socket or whatever you want to call it. Screw that on there, and then we can hit the button. You can see we are at 50 watts, 0.52 ohms, and we are ready to vape. While this is soaking in, I decided just to pull this tip off, and I just wanted to show you that it does have 2 O-rings, and it's actually black Delrin inside, and it has the metal on the outside. This is good because it sort of insulates it so the metal doesn't get very hot and burn your lips. So that's a nice touch. So we will go ahead and vape, and I'm going to see if I could let you see what's going on here as I'm drawing the juice. That is a lot of flavor and a lot of vapor. I am extremely impressed with this device. This is one of my I think it is my most highly recommended temperature control device. This thing does it all: titanium, nickel, and normal. I'm a normal kind of guy. There are people that I work with that might not believe that. But this is so impressive. I love the button too. It's immediately firing when it clicks. You don't have to like continue to press and bottom out the button. This is one of the things I don't like. But wow, this is amazing. The Clapton coil really does enhance the vapor and the flavor, and Johnson Creek definitely has a very intense flavor in their juice. So it's an amazing combination here, and the tank and this mod are probably, in my opinion, of all the ones that I've tried, is one of the best. I love it, and it's the most advanced and has so many safety features built into it. And I like, I'm starting to go toward having devices with the battery permanently installed. And I say this because sometimes it's difficult to get a good safe battery. You already know that a very safe, very well made battery is already installed into this device. So I like that. I like it a lot. And you don't have to have a fancy charger. You just plug in your USB cable, which is very long, into any USB charger, and this device has that high rate of speed charging. It has, what do they call it? The I forgot what they call it, but the 2 amp fast charging feature. The coils do use Japanese organic cotton. So for pros, this is for all the features that this device has, it's pretty simple to use. Lots of times when you have devices that could do all the things that this one could do, they get kind of complicated. This is super simple, that even I was able to figure it out with minimal perusing through the manual. I really liked it, and I just love the look of this. I like the feel of it, the finish, the screen. That's one of my cons. I'm not a huge fan personally of the bottom having the screen, but there is a little bit of a lip here, so when you set it down, the screen is not touching what you're putting it down on, but I still prefer my screens to be somewhere else. At a very minimum, if it comes up with an alert like there's a problem, I would like to maybe have some lights or something here that I could see that says, hey dummy, you need to look on the bottom and see what the problem is. So that's really the con that I had. The only other thing is that this is a 20 2mm tank, and it's right at the edge. It's not hanging over. Well, maybe just by a little teeny hair over there. So if you use something larger, you need like a reducing adapter as far as shape, or it's just going to sort of hang over. And if you're like anal attentive about looks and everything, you really can't go over a 22mm device on top of this mod. Now, before we wrap things up, I was doing lung hits. I want to try a mount to lung hit, so we're going to go ahead and take that airflow and bring it down to that one tiny hole, down to 1, to sort of give us something ideal for a mount to lung hit, just to see what that feels like. And the flavor is now extremely intense, and it's coming down to the same draw that's close to a cigarette, which is pretty amazing for such a large device like this, to be able to still get down to a cigarette or cigarette kind of draw. So you really have it all in this device, and it's one of the most advanced devices. It's one of the newest devices that Innokin has. It is just very impressive. And the whole kit, the whole system, $70, and you saw it here. The only thing it's lacking is a charger itself, but most people in the modern world already have like 20 chargers laying around the house from cell phones and other vaping kits and all that. And if you don't have one, I believe Innokin does have chargers that you could probably buy. So if you're interested in this device, again, if you go down to the description box, I did provide a link to my vapor store for $70, and that's the going price of this right now. One more vape and we'll wrap things up. You know what? I can't just say wrap that up with it like that. I gotta do the full lung hit and get a nice big cloud to wrap things up. Man, just like an RDA. Oh, speaking of RDA, I almost forgot. Okay, so you can put titanium, nickel, Clapton coil heads into this thing. Innokin just sent me like a day or two ago, and I'm glad I opened the package, the RD or the RBA kit. So you can actually build a coil head if you want. It comes with organic cotton, some instructions, and a coil head that you could build. It has your blue screwdriver. It has a little device here that you could use to wrap your coils. It comes with some pre-made coils right there. We could take a look at the coil head really quick. So you can build your own. Like I said, this thing really has it all. Now this kit didn't come with the system here that I'm reviewing, but I just wanted to show you that this is available for those of you who still like to build your own. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining me here at the Gear Obsession channel. I really do appreciate every friend, viewer, subscriber, and especially you. And I really like my Cortex temperature control vaping system. It is freaking awesome. Okay, have a great day. Take care.